Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm back again with that lovely vintage style altered book that we have been working on. And yeah, I want to kind of just come along really and start filling it up a little bit. And also alongside filling it up, I want to do the cover. So as you can see, this was a children's book, obviously Peter Pan, but it's very glossy. So hopefully you can see that. It's a very sheeny cover. So obviously that could be potentially problematic. So what I'm going to have to do is start by gessoing all over that cover to just dull down all of that shine, because otherwise I'm going to definitely be having a problem, you know, getting anything to kind of stick on there and obviously making it look at all vintage. So I'm just going to go for this. Now, I haven't got any thin gesso left, unfortunately. So I'm just going to go for this with my thick gesso. It's white, but yeah, it's fine. So all I'm trying to do is basically cover up the shine, because, you know, I'm not sure yet how I'm going to decorate the cover, but we might just paint it or, you know, do something. But yeah, what I want to do is just get rid of the shine so that things actually stick onto it. Be that paint or paper, glue, fabric, you know, whatever. At the moment, obviously things are not going to stick onto it because it's got this sheeny surface. So just go over the whole thing. I probably should have used a paintbrush. I've chosen to use a wipe because I thought that the wipe would actually be better. I thought, oh, a paintbrush, it's going to look very obviously painted. And yeah, I wanted to have it looking a bit more kind of eclectic. But to be honest, now I'm thinking, oh, this looks terrible. We should have used a wipe. Not a wipe. We shouldn't have used a wipe. We should have used a paintbrush. But anyway, it will hopefully, you know, look fine once it's actually done. So I'm going to just dry that front bit off so that we can go round and obviously then do the back of that cover. So let me just quickly get my heat tool and dry that off. Hold on. Right, okay, I'm back. So the front's kind of dry. It's not perfect, but it's okay. So I'm just going to do the same on the back, obviously. So the whole cover is then dulled down at least. Like I say, I haven't actually decided what I'm going to do yet with this, but I'm thinking paint as the first thing. And probably just the same paint that we used on the inside of the journal, and that way we're going to have a nice cohesive kind of look between the, you know, the inside and the outside. So this is obviously a very extravagant method, so yes, I wouldn't recommend doing this. I should have just used a brush, but yeah, I just didn't want it to look like it had been neatly painted with a brush. I mean, not that it would have necessarily been neatly painted with a brush, but you know, I wanted a bit more of an eclectic look, and I've certainly now got it. Right, okay, now I've also got obviously the inside of the cover here. So I just need to go around that as well with the same, because that also has got obviously the same problem in that we've got the glossy kind of surface. So just go around there. I mean, literally, we're just doing it to, you know, so that the paint or whatever it is that we're using sticks on there. So let me just dry this off again. I'm so sorry about the state of my hands now. Yeah, again, another reason why I should have used a brush, because perhaps then I would not have been quite so covered in gesso now. So, all right, there we go. Okay. I mean, you can see how glossy it is because gesso is very fast drying, but even the gesso is actually taking a little while to dry on this. So, you know, it definitely, you know, needed that kind of dulling down treatment, if you like. So I might have to go over it a second time, I'm thinking, with the gesso. I mean, look at the state of the front of that cover. It looks terrible, doesn't it? Let's hope that we, I don't know why I'm saying we. I'm sure you guys are sitting there thinking, well, there's nothing to do with us. We wouldn't have made it that state. But yeah, I hope that I can manage to get it looking a bit better. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I dabbed it here. So not only is it now really looking, you know, very patchy, we've got this big sort of splodgy type area where I kind of then dabbed it. So yeah, not really too good. So let's just go in here with a bit more gesso just around the corner. Okay, right, now haven't done the inside of this front cover, so I will go in and do that in a moment. Let's just dry this off first. Okay. So hopefully drying a little bit quicker now, because obviously, you know, this is the second coat. Okay. Okay, right. And then what we can do is obviously go, oops, just dab my thumb in where of course I dabbed it in the one part that was still very wet. Honestly, I'm just a bit of a liability when it comes to, you know, paint or anything that's a little bit on the messy side, really. Right, let's just go for this a bit more. I mean, definitely I would have benefited from having, you know, wet gesso as well, instead of this thick, heavy gesso, because this is not obviously the right stuff for this, but it's fine. It will do. You know, it's not anything terrible. It just, you know, it's not going on like a paint like the thin gesso would have. So yeah, should always try and use the right stuff, I suppose, shouldn't you? I mean, not because you can't get it to work with the wrong stuff, but just because it will make it easier, make life easier for you if you have the right things in the first place. So right, let me just quickly dry now, or, you know, mop up the desk. Oh, right. Okay, so I'm going to dry this off now. Okey-dokey. Okay, right. So not too bad. She says as she then dabs all in it and makes it much worse than it was. Okay, right. Okay, and then I'm just going to now do a second coat on the back cover, just like we did on the front. So, you know, hopefully we've just kind of really covered it well. Yeah, I'm thinking paint. I'm thinking the same paint as we've used on the pages, because I think that would look really nice on here. I'm actually thinking maybe quite understated. I often, well, in the past, I have often done altar books with quite an understated cover. I can't actually remember what the covers have looked like on the last few altar books that I've done. I'm pretty sure they probably haven't been so understated, but yeah, I'm wondering whether we might do just a bit of an understated look. I don't know. We shall just see how it goes. Right, let me dry this off now one last time. Okie dokie, right. Let me move this off my desk. Paintbrush here, so I'm thinking, yeah, go in with paint next. Can you see how it's bubbling up here? That's just where I put it on a bit thick, and I'm now being a bit impatient with the drying. So yeah, you can see it's kind of just that's happening in those thick places where I've, you know, overdone it a bit. Right. Okay, not too bad. Right, so let's turn it back over now. Oh my goodness, I mean, look at the mess I've made of that front cover. It looks terrible, doesn't it? Let's hope that we can somehow get it looking good. Right, so I've got the paint that I used on the rest of it. So this is the same paint that I've used, obviously, for the inside pages. So we're just going to, oops, take the paint. Are you going to school now, sweetie? Yeah. Okay, I love you, darling. We're going to have roast dinner tonight, darling. Okay. Love you. Be safe. Have a nice day. Right, okay. So I've got a brush for this. I'm not going to be going in with my wipe yet. So we're just going to go over with the brush. Now, obviously, this is pretty bumpy and lumpy underneath now because I've made such a bad job of that gesso, but I don't mind that, to be honest. So just covering the whole thing with the paint. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I quite like the way that looks, you know, a little bit sort of lumpy and old, because I mean it did have obviously a very kind of new glossy sort of modern look. So I mean, for me, I think this looks a little bit better now. Well, I say it looks a bit better. I mean, you probably think, my goodness, it looks terrible, but let's just dry this off, and I will do a second coat on this. So we'll just dry it off quickly here and on the inside. Okay, now the outside. Okey-dokey, right. Okay, and then, yeah, let's go over and give it another coat. So just because, although, you know, I don't mind it looking patchy, some of it we can still see like the title and things underneath, so I don't mind it being patchy, but I do, you know, mind it showing like the text and things through. So let's go over it again. I mean, I really like how that's looking, to be honest. I know it's probably, you know, not everyone's cup of tea, and you know, you're possibly sat at home thinking, oh my goodness, she's just made that look terrible, but I think that looks really good. So let's just try that. Okay. Okey-dokey. And the paint really does dry quite quickly. I mean, obviously I've got a few coats going on here now because I've got the 2 coats of gesso and I've now got 2 coats of paint. So I'm just giving it a little bit extra because, you know, I've got a lot of layers. But I mean, even though I've got lots of layers, it's still drying pretty quick. So it's not too bad at all. Okay, right. I love how that looks so far. Okay, right. Now we just want to do the back, and obviously I'm just going to do the spine at the same time as the back. So let's just do the spine here. I mean, obviously we're not looking for perfection. We want this to look like it's something that's been laying around in the attic. We want it to look old and, you know, rusticy. We don't want it to look like a, you know, a factory bought item, do we? So, you know, the fact it's got now lumps and bumps, I actually think is quite cool. So you know, if it were dead smooth, I think it would look not so vintage. So yeah, let's view it as a bonus that it's looking really terrible. Am I kidding any of you? Oh, I'm not. I don't know. Or not necessarily kidding you, convincing you. Am I convincing you? Okay, let's just dry this off. And then I'll do a second coat of this, just like we did on the front. a bit wet on those edges still, so I'll just concentrate on those a bit. Okay, right, last coat. I know, I'm sure you're all thinking, wow, that just looks terrible. Okay, so we just do here like that, and then I will probably turn it over to do the inside of this back cover, because obviously I've done the spine on here as well, so I can't really kind of lay it down. Okay, oops, I'm just going to just do a little bit here as well. Okie dokie, right, let's dry this off again now. Yeah, I have to say, I'm not actually too sure what I'm going to do from here on, so we shall have to do it together and sort of play around. What I've done sometimes in the past with the altered book covers is just like stamped onto a painted cover, and that can look really, really nice. It's, you know, very simple and very obviously quick and easy, but it really does look quite effective, so we could just do something like that. However, I am thinking that's, you know, probably pretty boring, so we will maybe try and add something as well. I'm not going to add like a topper that I've already got done, but we might add something like maybe a vintage photograph or something, because obviously we've done this whole journal has been made with vintage things. I think it's all been done with vintage things. And we've kept it very, very neutral, which for me, that's such a big, you know, big challenge, because I just love colour. And so to keep something really neutral is, yeah, definitely a struggle for me. But, all right, let's just paint around the edge. Like that. Okay. Just go in here. Okay, right. So I'm going to now just put the paint out the way, and then I'm going to dry that off one last time. And then we'll have a look and see what we can put on. I am thinking, yeah, maybe a vintage photograph or something like that would be quite nice. So yeah, let's just dry this off quickly. I just leaned down to pick this up because this had dropped on the floor. But this is obviously a vintage piece, so I'm thinking, you know, maybe something like that as a focal point. Okay, right. Okie dokie. Okay, right. So, loving how this looks so far. I mean, to be honest, you know, for me, I think even if this looks, you know, pretty tatty as it does right now, it still looks better than how it did look, because obviously it was that glossy kind of children's book, which now it's straight away, you know, it's much more interesting looking, isn't it? It's, yeah, much more interesting. So what I was talking about, in the past, I have sometimes just done like a little stamp sort of in one corner, which I think looks really nice. But on this, I'm thinking something like a little vintage photograph. Now, this one just happened to be on the floor, but, you know, it looks sort of perfect on there, doesn't it? So, yeah, I really quite like the look of how that is, even just, you know, just as it is there. Let's see what I've got laying around that we could kind of build this up with. So, I mean, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, we could just have like the photograph on there. Now, do we want the photograph like on top of something kind of layered up, or just naked on there, which I think looks quite nice actually. So I'm just going to get some book page. So if we were just to get some texty book page, I just want to see how it would look with some book page around it. So I'm just going to place that on there and then just cut around it. So, and then I'll probably rough this up because I just love that roughed up look. But again, you know, these are just all optional stages. Okay. So yeah, I mean, something like that. And then kind of rough that up. So I'm just going to just check. So if we just rough this up a little bit. So sorry that my hands are now obviously really messy. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, that looks really pretty, doesn't it? So let's just glue that down. I'm just going to get my wet glue. It's just still just over here because I've had it in a carrier bag going to my mum's. So yeah, let me just get my wet glue. Oops. Oh, it's finding which carrier bag it's now in. Oh, honestly, I mean, how can you have so many carrier bags? Like, oh dear. Right, okay. Oh, right. Oh, this isn't very good, is it? What am I doing? Right, let's just try this. So yeah, this is one of those that I melted on my hot glue gun, so it's not brilliant, but hey, it will do. So like I say, this is some genuine vintage, you know, ephemera. So we're definitely keeping with the, you know, genuine vintage kind of theme here, which is all good. Okay, so just glue this one down. I've just literally stood it onto those stays on ink pads just so that it's propping it up and it's not then sort of tipping over to its side too much. So let's just glue this down. Okay, now I'm going to just ink around the edge of the book page. So I'm just using Vintage Photo. Yep, just distress that a little bit. And then obviously we will distress the, you know, the cover itself, which, I mean, the paint distresses beautifully. You know, we've done that already kind of inside the journal, but it will distress just as well here on the outside. So going around there, obviously here you can see, I mean, I assume that was a bit of maybe wet paint, or I don't know, maybe that was a bit of gesso. Again, I don't mind that, you know, it's all part of adding character to it, isn't it? So just going to go in here now and go over where we've just painted again to sort of just add a bit of vintageness to here as well. So like that. And then we'll just go on to the back. Oops, obviously put that down on the desk before it was really dry. So it's obviously taken some of that paint off. But I mean, again, that's all fine. It's, you know, it's all fine. I mean, if it really sort of bothers me, I can obviously paint over it. But yeah, for the minute, we will just go with it and just ink around it. And then again, just on the inside of that back cover where we painted, to just blend that in and make that look a bit more vintage, like that. Okay. Okay, right. Loving how that looks. Check it's the right way up, because yes, I have been known to put things on the wrong side, obviously. So I don't want to make those kinds of mistakes today. Right, so I'm thinking this here. Now I'm wondering, do we want to have a bit of stamping on here as well? So let's just prop that up on there a little bit like that. I mean, to be honest, I absolutely love how that looks just as it is. You know, I feel like it doesn't really need anything else. It just looks gorgeous. But yeah, we don't want to be too boring, do we? So I'm just going to cut a bit of this lace just kind of cut that header off. And I know I've done this lots of times, but it just then gives it a much nicer frayed edge. So just get rid of that on there. Okay, and yeah. Okay. Let's have a quick look now. Okie dokie. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, we could just have like a bit of lace running down the edge there. I mean, that looks quite pretty, doesn't it? You know, very, very, very simple, but very, very pretty. Or we could have it on this edge, running down like that. Maybe that edge is better. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that edge is better. So I'm just going to put it like that, and then all I'm going to do is just hot glue this on, because the hot glue will go through that lace and hold it into place. So just going to literally hot glue all around the edge like that. Okay, like that. Glue that down. Okay, so then that lace is kind of held on. So it's obviously it's not attached, it's not glued on, but it's just held into place a little bit. So we can just then glue that down now with the help of a bit of the wet glue. Like that. Now you can probably see, I mean, that lace went crooked or skewiff in the gluing of that centerpiece, so it's now very lopsided on there. Again, I don't think that matters. I think that looks, you know, part of the charm. The fact it's kind of, you know, slightly off at an angle, I personally think looks really, really nice. So I'm not going to worry about any of those kinds of things. Now we could add just a little bit of bling or something onto there. You know, maybe something like that. I mean, that looks very, very pretty, doesn't it? So let's just put those down. So, I mean, I want to try and keep it pretty simple and pretty colourless, because obviously the whole journal we've done quite colourless so far. So I don't want to suddenly now go, you know, mad here on the front cover. Although, that being said, obviously, as you know, I do struggle with colours. So, yeah, I'm going to do my best to keep it, you know, keep it colourless, but just adding a couple of pretty things. Now I've got some of those metal oh, what do you call them, you know, what are they called, what's the word I'm searching for, the metal book plates. So I'm just going to see, this might be too big because they are actually quite large, but it's not too bad. I don't know. It feels quite big on there, to be honest, because it's quite big in comparison to the picture. So yeah, it might be a bit of a mistake. Got these. I mean, these are even bigger, so I don't know why I'm even looking at these, to be honest. But they were there, so I thought, oh well, let's have a quick look and see about those. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely a no, really, aren't they? I've also got my metal book corners, so let me just have a look at those. I've got these. I mean, that's a bit weird, isn't it? But these were off of an old belt. I know I've talked about this before, but yeah, what a fantastic thing to, you know, to come by, kind of off of an old belt, because these are one of those items that look brilliant, you know, everywhere that you put them. So yeah, really, really like these metal things. I mean, I don't even know what I would describe them as, to be honest, but yeah, let's just call them metal things. That will do. Right, okay. And then I've just got these little metal corners, which we could just glue these on. Something like that. Oh my goodness, how gorgeous does that look? Now, do we think with the circle or not? I think probably without, actually. So I do like the circle, but yeah, probably without, to be honest. And then we could even put some little script on there. Personally, I think it probably looks fine without, actually. So just going to glue these down. Now, I normally glue metal bits on with just my hot glue. I did buy some of that is it the E3000 or E6000 or E2000? I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, I'm sure that you all know the glue that I mean. I bought some of that. I think it is 6,000, isn't it? And yeah, I bought some of that, which, you know, is also really good. I think it just takes a bit longer to dry, if I recall. I haven't used it for a long time. But yeah, personally, I've never found a problem gluing metal bits with the hot glue. So, you know, all the time that I find it works fine, then that's, you know, that's good enough for me. So yeah, got that one, and then this one here we'll just put on the top. Like that. Okay. Like that. Now, obviously at this point you could Mod Podge over this, you know, that might help to seal your paint. You can probably see I did just have a little bit peel off here. Now, it's hard to say whether that's just because it's a little bit wet still. You know, once it's dried on here, hopefully it will be more robust. But, you know, if not, then you could go over this with like a spray adhesive or, you know, some Mod Podge or something like that. But, you know, you might be okay. But yeah, I mean, I think that looks a super pretty cover, to be honest. Just exactly, you know, with nothing else even on there, to be honest. I just absolutely love it. So then all I'm going to do now is just go back through the journal and just add a couple of kind of bits and pieces onto there. So I've got my stencil here. Oops. When I can get it off, there we go. So I think what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of gesso with my stencil. So I'm just trying to find my little bits of card, because I just find the easiest way to apply a stencil is using, you know, an old card. So I'm just going to put some of this around, just, you know, in some random places into the book. Oh, I don't know if I like that much, actually. I really love it when other people do the white gesso. For me, not so much. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. I don't know whether I like that. But anyway, I will just dry that on. Or perhaps I just don't like that particular pattern with the white. I don't know. Dry. So I'm just going to go then to a couple of random points and just do some other little bits of gesso. So I might just do a little bit on here, for example. Oops. There's maybe some here. Like that. Okay. So then we'll just dry that off. No, I don't think I like it, that particular one. So I'm going to try and wipe that off now. Okay, let's just wipe that in. Now I wonder if that's wet enough. No. Well, it's flaking off okay. So yeah, let's get rid of it like that. Just don't think I liked it very much like that. I prefer it now, actually. Now it's gone flatter. That looks better. So yeah, bit of a mental note there. I don't like it when it's that texty one, just with white gesso. Yeah, it looked rubbish. Okay, so yeah, not keen on that. Just having a bit of a look to see what other stencils I've got. I've got my sort of newsprint one. Maybe that one would be better. I've hung these up beside my desk now, which I thought would be so much easier to get to, but actually they're still proving a little bit tricky to get to. Okay, let's try this one. Oh, I think this one. Oh no. Right. Yeah, should we try this? Oh, I don't know as I'm going to like this any better, to be honest. I think maybe I won't do the gesso. I thought the gesso would look really lovely, but yeah, maybe I'm not loving that. So let's scrap that idea and let's just do a little bit of just inking with the stencil, I think. Yeah, there was just something about that gesso. I didn't really like the look of it very much. So yeah, let's just do a little bit of, well, probably not on that page, but yeah, perhaps we'll do some down here. Oh, it's not really coming out. Oh, this is a disaster, isn't it? Right, okay, well perhaps we won't bother. Perhaps I will just do some stamping or something instead, to be honest. Or, you know, I mean, to be honest, it probably doesn't even need anything. It looks, you know, very pretty already. So yeah, we could just leave it. So I just want to go back through the journal, obviously, and just fill some of the gaps. I've got a lot of ephemera here. I think most of it's actually vintage, but there are some pieces which aren't vintage, which obviously I'm just going to start stuffing some of the pockets, and in some places I might not put things in pockets but just clip them onto pages. So I think what I'll do is just go through first. I mean, this, for example, I've already put in the pocket. These I've already put things in, but we've got lots of pockets on the side of pages as well, which of course need, you know, things putting in. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through and just fill some of the pockets and, you know, some of the bits and pieces with just some bits of ephemera. So we've got, you know, photographs, we've got documents, all sorts of different bits and pieces here that we can just fill all these little bits with. Oh, that had some in there, look. I haven't used this or, you know, worked on this journal for a couple of weeks. And honestly, it makes such a difference. You know, if you just don't work on things for a couple of weeks, it's surprising how much you forget, you know, in just that very short time, to be honest. Perhaps I've actually filled all the pockets. Perhaps it's just the pockets that actually need filling. In fact, most of those appear to be filled as well. So, oh, I must have done more than I thought on here. So, yeah, I've obviously done more than I thought. Oh, well, that's good, isn't it? This is for some reason not glued on here, so let me just glue this on. Oh, this is where I look like I'm lying when I said, oh, I've never had a problem with the hot glue, you know. But now, of course, now no sooner have I said that, I'm now having a problem. Okay, that might go that way round. So like that, and yep, another big pocket here. So yeah, as it happens, I seem to have stuffed most of the pockets, which, oh, don't you love it when that happens? It's almost like if you find money in your purse, you know, if you've put money in your purse and you've forgotten you've put it there, and then a few weeks later you find it. It's like that. It's like, oh, how great. I've actually filled most of those pockets already. It feels fantastic. Because sometimes, you know, I find it quite overwhelming how much there is left to do, you know, in a journal, and you think, oh no, I've got all that stuff left to go. Because you feel like you're nearly finished, and then lo and behold, you know, it can be the same again as working on the journal, just to actually make all the bits to go inside the pockets, you know. It can be just as much work all over again. So yeah, finding that actually I have filled most of the pockets is, it's like music to my ears. It feels great. Absolutely awesome. Well, let's just have a look at this envelope. No, nothing in there. Oh, I say nothing in there. There are even things in the envelope. Wow, that feels amazing. I can't believe it. That's just fantastic. So yeah, I can just literally clip on a couple of other bits, and then I think the whole journal is actually done. Can't believe it. Now I have got a bit of a sort of idea actually that I want to try for this journal, but I don't know whether I'm actually going to get time to do it. So yeah, if I do, then, you know, I'll try and link it quite quickly after this video. But you know, try and put it up, I mean, quite quickly after this video. But it might be that I just, you know, won't have time to actually to do it. But I would like to, because, yeah, I've got quite a kind of fun idea. Just as a bit of a sort of experiment, really, that I think that you guys might, you know, might find quite fun. Okay, we clip all of those on. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm feeling very excited now that I don't have all those pages to fill after all. That feels just great. Absolutely great. Okay, so we've got the last couple of bits and then we are actually done, would you believe? Okay, oops. What's going on with this? Okay. Oh, that's so annoying, isn't it? Let's put that there. And oops. Oh, come on. Right. Oh, that's annoying. That lace. Don't know. That lace wants to be glued down in a different way to how it is, I think. But anyway, and then that can go in there instead. So yeah. Do I need anything in there? I need something in this. Will that fit? No, of course it won't. Of course it won't. That would be far too easy, wouldn't it? Okay, right, let's put that back. That seemed to fit up there nicely. Oh, this is annoying. Okay. Oh, of course that didn't fit up there, did it? It wasn't that was there. It was just the piece that I've put in that pocket. Oh gosh, making a bit of a meal of this now. So right, let me just glue this back down. Okay, I'm sure. Right, let's put this photograph up there because that's just nice and small and skinny. Right, now what did I do with that? I had this picture in, and then in here I can put that photograph, and then this we can just put, well, we could probably just put it in a pocket in the side of one of the pages. So yeah, we could probably just put it in here with that. So yeah, looking good. Right, so I can't believe it, this journal is actually finished, which feels amazing because yeah, I did not realize that it was quite so close to being finished. So yeah, I hope that you like it, and like I say, I will come back obviously to do a flip through, but I do have something I would like to do if I can get, you know, if I can get the chance to do it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks then. Bye.